The Trump and Biden campaigns are in the final sprint with just 7 days to go until Election Day. Both campaigns spreading out. They are across the country trying to make their case. In 2016, President Trump won the evangelical vote. He won overwhelmingly. But today, writer and editor Matt Kaufman is hoping to change some minds. Matt's joining us now, and I want to thank you for being with us to talk about this. You used to work for the magazine published by Focus on the Family, which is one of the most prominent evangelical groups in the country. And you have a piece in The Bulwark that is titled, "Why Christians Should Dump Trump. I spent years working for a conservative Christian organization, but I believe that supporting Trump damages the country and Christianity too." You say in this article that the president is bad for the cause of Christ. Explain what you mean.
Well, I think this, Rihanna. I think his conduct, his way of behaving, and many of the ways he uses his power are damaging not only just to the country in general, that is bad enough, but if people see Christians, no matter how well we may behave in our own personal lives, if they see our behavior and link us to Trump, I think that just shuts them down, not only to what we might have to say about public policy, but more important, what we have to say about our faith. And that is really what should be our greatest concern.
And, you know, there are many evangelicals who voted for President Trump and are expected to vote for him again, even as they dismiss behavior in him that they certainly would not talk about doing themselves, right? This isn't something that they would typically disapprove of. So can you explain that to us and also tell us about how, I know you haven't made a ton of friends with some folks by writing this.
Well, I think probably what happens to a lot of people is it is a combination of they overlook some things in Trump either because they are trying to focus on some policy gains that they hope to make, or because of their concern about what Democrats will do. They see dangers on the left. And I understand where they're coming from because they are, I share many of those concerns. But I think there's an ideological tunnel vision that we have to watch out for, where we only see dangers on the left, and there are dangers on the right, and there are dangers that don't fit on a left-right spectrum when you have a president who is so unstable and callous and cruel. And I think we have to watch out for all of those. Now, as to not making some friends, I know there are some people who are going to be alienated by what I'm saying, some people who share a lot of the views that I have on issues. I have heard from some other people, I'm happy to say, who are much more supportive, and that gives me some hope that these are concerns that are more widespread, perhaps, than you'd realize when you just see some of the people who are known as conservative Christian spokespeople in media.
And Matt, you talk a little bit about that in your piece. You write about finding company in your political views, that this is something that can come up in casual conversation, you know, which I think is something that when it comes to evangelical Christians, that's something they're very familiar with when it comes to talking about the Bible, talking about religion. Explain what you mean by that, finding company in your political views.
Well, I think this can come up very much without having a political conversation. You may even be trying to avoid a political conversation, but something comes up, something Trump has just said or done, something notably outrageous or crazy or whatever, and you just can't help but grunt or sigh or let your voice make clear how disturbed you are by it. And other people pick right up on that. And very quickly you realize there's a lot more people who think this way, who share this revulsion at Trump and desire to set a higher standard than is generally recognized.
Matt, thank you so much for the conversation. I really appreciate it. Matt Kaufman.
Thank you.
Next, one of the